Life doesn't wait for your pain to pass before moving on. That may be one of the hardest lessons in modern life. Existence doesn't pause so we can put ourselves back together. Even when we face loss, trauma, or frustration, the world keeps demanding our productivity and presence, and it's in that mismatch between what we feel and what we must do that many hearts begin to suffer. The urgency of the outside world clashes with the slowness of internal pain. Have you ever felt forced to keep going even when your soul was crying out for rest? The rush of the world doesn't respect the heart's timing. Anxiety, emotional exhaustion, and disconnection then settle in when we ignore the need to pause. It's not uncommon to see people trying to live normally while carrying wounds that still bleed inside. And that's where the danger lies, confusing survival with balance. Today, let's talk about something that may be missing from your daily life: slowing down from within. Even if the world keeps rushing, you can learn to cultivate inner silence, peace, and self-care. Calming the heart doesn't mean escaping life. It means finding your way back into it with more awareness, because only those who reconnect with their purpose can withstand the pressure of comparison and digital influence. And maybe what you need most right now is simply to breathe. We live in a time where slowing down feels almost sinful. Modern life demands constant movement, as if a person's worth is measured by productivity rather than presence. Barely a new day begins and we're already pushed by an avalanche of obligations, notifications, and unreachable goals. And when the soul needs rest, the world responds with pressure. This has quietly, but deeply, wounded our emotional health. There's a harmful belief that slowing down means falling behind, but sometimes stopping is the only way not to lose yourself. Have you noticed how, even in pain, there's a rush? Someone loses a job, gets betrayed, or grieves a loss, and the next day they're expected to show up at breakfast with a smile. The world doesn't respect the time of the heart, but you can. And sometimes all it takes is a soft song, the kind that feels like it hugs your soul, to remind you that life isn't a race to the finish line. It's a field to be tended with patience. The anxiety we carry often comes from the fear of slowing down and appearing weak. But staying whole is more important than moving fast. And maybe, just maybe, what you really need today is to relearn how to walk at your own pace. Social media has become a showcase of illusions. Everyone seems happy, confident, emotionally balanced, and financially successful. But what no one really says is that most of those images are carefully edited snapshots of a fragile and disconnected reality. It's as if we're all being forced to smile for an invisible audience, even when our hearts are breaking. Anxiety grows when we begin to crave a life that only exists on a screen. The culture of digital influence promotes speed, excess, and ready-made formulas. We see young people idolizing profiles that promise wealth in 7 days, self-esteem in 3 steps, and true love with psychological tricks. It's the trivialization of emotional suffering, turned into content for engagement. And in the middle of it all, our sense of purpose gets diluted. Inner silence is interrupted by voices that don't know our story, yet dare to dictate our choices. Take a moment and ask yourself, who is shaping your thoughts? Who is teaching you what success, beauty, and happiness look like? Too often, we follow people who distance us from the most essential truth, the value of simplicity, the power of self-awareness, the miracle of authenticity. Not everything that shines is meant to illuminate, and not every influencer is worth following. Sometimes the most revolutionary thing you can do is hit the disconnect button. To love is by nature an act of surrender. There's no real affection without the courage to drop our defenses, without the risk of being touched where it hurts the most. True love exposes the heart to the winds of instability, because it understands that feelings can't grow inside protected greenhouses. They bloom in the soil of vulnerability. And that's exactly why love can be frightening. It disrupts, stirs, shakes, but it also reveals what truly matters. Many give up on love because they become discouraged by its unstable phases. But love is not a fixed state. It's movement, sometimes gentle, sometimes stormy. Loving may mean remaining silent. Other times, it means confronting with strength. True relationships don't survive on guarantees. They survive on daily presence. Like a garden, affection needs to be nurtured with words, glances, gestures, and even respectful silences. Love remains only when we understand. Emotional stability is not the absence of conflict. It's the constant choice to rebuild the bridge. As the old saying goes, rephrased here with care. Those who love, care. But those who truly care know that love demands constant renewal. Just because you feel it today doesn't mean you'll feel it tomorrow, unless there's dedication. Emotional pain often comes from expecting the other person to be your anchor, when in reality, love is a sail. It's not meant to hold you down, it's meant to move you forward. And those who understand that suffer less. We live as if slowing down is wasting life, when in truth, that's exactly when life reveals itself. Pauses are not escapes, they're reunions. It's in the quiet space between one step and the next that we finally hear what noise usually drowns out, the voice of our own heart. Modern life teaches us to run, but not to listen, and silence is the most forgotten prayer of our time. How many times have you taken a deep breath today, not automatically, but intentionally? How many times did you allow yourself to simply exist, without responding, planning, or producing? There is deep wisdom in sitting alone, looking out the window, feeling the breeze, hearing your own soul. Sometimes what we call tiredness is really just a lack of introspection, and what we name sadness is simply the soul asking for peace. Take a moment for yourself. It might be 5 minutes, a short walk, or a prayer without words. Slowing down is an act of self-love, a silent resistance against the cruel logic of nonstop productivity. Sometimes what you call discouragement is just the absence of silence, and in that silence God whispers, what the noise of the world tries to bury. But to hear him, you must pause. You don't have to be strong all the time. That sentence, though simple, can feel almost impossible to believe in a world where crying is seen as weakness and rest is mistaken for laziness. But the truth is, even the strongest trees need winter to bloom again. Your heart, like a garden, also needs time to heal, to be replanted from within, and there is no shame in admitting that you feel worn, where once you felt full of life. Maybe you're right at that point, trying to keep life together on the outside while everything inside is quietly begging for a pause. It's a kind of silent suffering that few people notice, because the soul doesn't bleed through the eyes. It aches deep in the chest. And you know what hurts the most? It's when we keep pushing through life without realizing we're missing the best parts of it. Without introspection, without self-care, without self-love, we slowly become strangers to ourselves. And when that happens, even the lightest things start to feel heavy. So here's a genuine invitation. No magic formulas, no ready-made quotes. Slow down, not to escape life, but to rediscover yourself in it, with more wholeness. Value your inner silence. Listen to your body. Look inward with compassion. And if this message made sense to you, if something inside you softened, even just a little, then share it with someone who might also need that same pause. Send it with kindness, as if to say, I'm also trying to hold myself together. And if you felt like these words were written for your heart, stay with us. Here, your silence has a place. Your soul has a voice. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, not out of obligation, but so we can keep this conversation going whenever the outside world tries to pull you away from yourself. A warm embrace, and may God be with you.